Grotesque art,
I mean, sick is not the word.
perverse pastimes, and devious taste.
These people are nasty.
You know about their agenda, their means of control and manipulation. But now, take a look inside the demented life of the ruling elite. A bizarre, detached world, where the hobbies are illegal.
I was stripped of my clothing and began running before I would be hunted down.
The parties are private, and the menu is to die for. Prepare to see the creepy objects they collect, the sickening presents they exchange, and learn the shocking lengths they will go to try and achieve immortality. As has been noted by observers and historians for centuries, the elite are not like you and me.
She rose up like a bulldog, and she tore the flesh from the shoulders of this girl.
So much so that some researchers have concluded they're not even human. So step right up for a twisted, eye-opening ride through the darkest caverns of our world, inhabited only by those vile creatures we dare call the elite. The ruling so-called elite certainly view themselves as a race apart. But who are they? Typically, the elite come from certain ancient bloodlines. Researcher Fritz Springmeier identified 13 such bloodlines in his book, Bloodlines of the Illuminati. The elite are obsessed with genealogy, many tracing their bloodlines back thousands of years to ancient Sumer and Babylonia. These are the people at the top of the pyramid who fund both sides of wars, spark revolutions, make presidents their puppets, and they are weird. Not just eccentric or odd, but totally inhumanly strange and evil. A common distinguishing theme among elite circles is an inversion of everything. Good is bad, ugliness is beauty, and pain is pleasure. Think of the Addams family and their affinity for death and torture. In fact, the creator of the cartoon Charles Addams, who strangely gave the family his own surname, was from an elite bloodline himself and related to President John Adams. The Addams are identified by Fritz Springmeier as an Illuminati bloodline family. Given the wealth and status typical of an elite family, one might expect an Illuminati heir to have the perfect childhood. However, nothing could be further from the truth. While ostensibly spoiled, those born to old elite families are subjected to neglect and abuse to deliberately cause their mind to dissociate. The Duke family heirs made headlines when they revealed their life of abuse they endured growing up. The twins recall being locked in the basement for indefinite periods, made to eat their own feces, and scalded in boiling hot baths.
He'd pick me up by my ankles.
Here you go. He picks you up by your ankles like this.
Yes, and he would drop me.
On your head.
He used to slice my feet up as well.
Sliced your feet up?
Yes.
With what?
Knives.
On like the bottom of your feet, the tops, all over? Where would he cut you?
Everywhere. I didn't care.
What other forms of abuse did these people perpetrate? We know you've been hit. We know you've been sliced with a knife. We know you've been fed your own excrement. We know you've been locked up.
There's things I do know, but I don't really want to talk about them. There's some things I don't think people should know. Do you get what I mean?
There's stuff that I don't even want to talk about. I just remember nannies used to play Russian roulette with us. They thought it was funny.
What the articles won't tell you is these are all forms of trauma-based mind control, which is almost always done to Illuminati children.
These people are warped by this generational
torture that they do to their children. And so they get to you as an early child. You're raped at least once a week when you grow up in a satanic family. You're beaten, you're put into small cages. One of the best rituals that they use to split the mind so they can build altars and form a multiple personality person is when you're 3 years old, they'll put you in a custom-built wrought iron cage and leave you in a room for several days.
Now, wait a minute. How common is this?
This is standard operating procedure.
Generational child abuse has been passed down in their families for hundreds of years. As always, they have the power to never even be questioned. In 2014, an heir to the Illuminati DuPont family confessed to raping his 3-year-old daughter, but was only sentenced to probation because the judge felt he, quote, would not fare well in prison.
He's been convicted. I mean, he pled guilty to 4th-degree rape of a child under the age of, 3 and younger, and yet he is on probation.
Okay, and the defense lawyer, the court, felt that he shouldn't be sent there because he isn't going to do very well because he's a rapist, and rapists in prison usually have a really hard time, and he didn't want him to have a really hard time, I suppose. And the defense lawyer said that the judge got it right.
And they certainly could protect him. They just put him in solitary confinement.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, even if there are all kinds of rapists, once they are found guilty or they plead guilty, they're supposed to go to prison, not have probation, where they're free to find other little children to rape.
Just outrageous.
Infants to rape. I mean, like under the age of 3, toddlers to rape. That's really what we're talking about here. But you don't want to send somebody to prison because they might not do well. I mean, seriously.
What that does is reinforces behavior like this guy, like DuPont, that they don't really have to pay the consequences that normal humans do just because they're wealthy. It is the most, I can see people around the world just laughing at our justice system. Spitting at our justice system because we let this happen.
This is not just rape. This is a form of ritual abuse that is done within old, so-called elite families. Children raised in an Illuminati family are taught not to feel compassion and to believe that empathy is weakness.
There is something about their genetics which has deleted empathy. It's deleted the ability to feel the consequences for others of your actions. Because if I have empathy, feelings for how you will feel from my actions, then there is an immediate limit on my actions. I'm not going to do something to you because I have empathy with how it will make you feel. Delete that, there are no limits.
They are sometimes forced to participate in the abuse or sacrifice of animals to further break down their mind.
You will torture them. You will make them watch animals and children being sacrificed as a form of incredible trauma. You'll find out their greatest fear, and you'll make them experience it over and over again to break them mentally and emotionally.
Being raised in a secret world of horrors leads the children to develop into socially inept, psychopathic adults. Leonardo da Vinci, Vincent van Gogh, just a couple of the names that come to mind when we think of beautiful art. And of course, the aristocracy is sponsoring today's generation of talented, inspirational artists. Wrong. While the elite do keep masterful works of art hidden away in their private collections, the art they truly fawn over is not really what most would even consider art. In total celebration of all that is grotesque and repulsive, the sick individuals who run our world pay outrageous sums to collect the most disturbing art they can find.
I was reading this morning on ABC News about the Sultan of Oman and other people buying artwork, buckets of maggots. I told you they love buckets of maggots. Images of dead children and maggots, crystal skulls, formaldehyde, fish tanks with dead cows in them, dressed in gold. Jesus with maggots all over him. And I mean, they'll spend 10, 20 million a piece. They'll spend, in one case, 99 million on one of them. And the artists have all got names like Damien, and they'll have body modification. These little chicken-necked cowards come in there, and all the elite flutter around and buy it. See, that's who rules things. That's who runs it. Imagine having a jar of maggots covering some rotten flesh, or images of their favorites are dead babies covered in maggots, but because of laws, it'll be a fake baby covered in maggots. And it's just, all these elite homes, let's go to the room where it really shows who we are. And that to them, it's so beautiful. Images of demons eating babies. Images of maggots covering everything. Maggots, cans of human feces for millions of dollars apiece. And they'll tell you, they write about it. They say, well, we buy $99 million, maggot buckets because it shows our adoration for the maggots in death. It is worship of the maggots. These are, if I had to describe the New World Order, they are maggot worshipers. And I don't just say that. I mean, they really are maggot worshipers. That's their works of art. You see, this is just the front of it. The maggots, the dead kids, the golden calves covered in maggots and crap. This is what they're into. They are the rotten flesh maggot cult. And to them, stinking flesh, rotten death, piles of blood, vomit, bile is beautiful. It's gorgeous to them. Whereas a normal person recoils. A normal person loves a gorgeous vista, the ocean, a sunset, a beautiful woman, or a man could admire, a athlete or a singer. No, that's not what to them, high culture is murder, death, children begging for their lives, howls of pain.
Take, for example, Washington, D.C. power broker Tony Podesta, brother of John Podesta, former White House Chief of Staff. His home is filled with disturbing paintings of children being stripped down and tortured. He has a golden statue known as the Arch of Agony, modeled after the posed corpses of serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer's victims. If you don't see the artistic beauty in that, you are obviously an uncultured plebeian. When a cannibal painting was found hanging in John Podesta's Clinton campaign office, his only comment? It's better to be the guy with the fork than the guy on the table. Another so-called artist admired by Tony Podesta and the like is Patricia Piccinini. This woman creates realistic sculptures of absolutely grotesque, lifelike monsters and repulsive human hybrid creatures, often depicted clutching children in disturbing poses. From memorabilia to toothbrushes, many people have household collections. However, none quite as bizarre as those within the Illuminati's inner circle. Being members of the ultimate ancient death cult, it should come as little surprise that the most coveted collector's item among today's satanic aristocracy are antique torture devices, jewelry made from bones, items made of human skin, and other such macabre pieces. Human leather, for instance, is a favorite among the elite, who pay over $20,000 for a single wallet made out of it. In the old days, black magic books would be bound in human leather. When the holiday season rolls around, malls and electronic stores are packed with frantic customers desperate to get this year's it item.
Let the shopping, the saving, and the shoving begin.
But for the elite, nothing so mundane would ever suffice. Illuminati member Hunter S. Thompson described just what the elite like for Christmas in his 2004 book, Hey Ruby, stating that the autumn months are never a calm time in America. There is always a rash of kidnapping and abduction of school children in the football months. Preteens of both sexes are traditionally seized and grabbed off the streets by gangs of organized perverts, pedophiles, who traditionally give them as Christmas gifts to each other, to be personal sex slaves and playthings. Thompson's claims ring especially true in light of the increasing awareness surrounding the disturbing numbers of missing kids in North America.
So when I presented what we had in our case, the person that followed me in presenting was a member of the FBI, and what they had laid on the table about this size was nothing but one publication after another that had all been taken from a pedophile in a raid that the FBI conducted. One of the things was a book on how to coerce or abduct a child into a car. The how-to books that teach pedophiles to do this. Paraphernalia that would be used in some type of sexual torture for children. And then the other interesting thing that was there on the table was a book of pictures of kids who had not yet been kidnapped.
The statement was that you could order a kid out of that book.
And the interesting thing is that from time to time when we do hear of reports of children being photographed either on a playground and or walking to and from school or just whatever, in many cases there is an abduction attempt on the same child up to 3 weeks, a month, or 2 months later.
Sports, gardening, hiking, just a few of the many great pastimes enjoyed worldwide. But what about the elite? What do you do when you've got all the money in the world? The finest and the best get boring. So you seek out the bizarre, but even that soon loses its allure. You can get by with anything your twisted mind can concoct, and have money and power enough to cover your tracks. Everything gets pushed to the extreme. How far will the elite go to catch a thrill? Human hunting parties, blood drinking, and utter sadism.
These people, the yachts, the hookers, the power, it all starts not having the luster anymore. So they pay top dollar at first for the snuff films of children. Big in Europe, big in Russia, just incredible evil. And so that's the thrill.
They get a fiendish thrill out of watching others suffer. One of the young heirs of the Illuminati Duke estate that revealed their lives of abuse and torture sent his bodyguard to the hospital by lacing his food with ghost pepper sauce, 400 times hotter than Tabasco. The heir knew of the guard's pre-existing condition, which would be aggravated by the pepper. The man claims the disturbed teen did it to, quote, entertain himself and get his kicks. Such cruel, sadistic behavior is in keeping with those, such as the Duke family, which is of an Illuminati bloodline. Each year, the thrill of camping lures hundreds of thousands out of the cities and suburbs and into the great outdoors. And while the elite are no exception, you can be sure it isn't marshmallows getting roasted around their campfire. Each July, bankers, politicians, entertainment moguls, and Illuminati kingpins gather inside a 2,700-acre elite compound nestled in Northern California, known as the Bohemian Grove. For over 128 years, world leaders have descended on the giant redwood grove and brought with them a flurry of speculation.
You've got all these CIA directors, attorney generals, vice presidents, presidents.
Going to the Grove.
You have the former German chancellor, Helmut Schmidt. He says, we have our own druidic groves in Germany. But my favorite place to go, and he calls it druidic, is Northern California.
Groves have held a sacred place in the lore of Druids for centuries. This mysterious order of Celtic priests have performed both human and animal sacrifice in their groves in ancient England. And historically, similar orders, Romans, Greeks, Scandinavians, also all considered groves to be sacred spaces.
Almost immediately, bizarre whisperings began to circulate about something dark and occult going on deep within the grove's tightly secured perimeter. The rumors entailed sinister stories of men in black robes and a giant 40-foot stone owl to which something or someone was being sacrificed. The unworldly reports were all proven true when radio show host Alex Jones infiltrated and filmed the notorious cremation of care ritual. Grove members claim this to merely be a mock human sacrifice, but many researchers insist real human sacrifices take place as well.
We shall read the sign. Midsummer sets us free. Ye shall burn me once again. Now but leave flame, which hither ye have fought from regions where I reign.
Avid hunters pay large sums to go on hunting parties for wild game, but for the elite class, there's no animal quite as thrilling to hunt as mankind himself. These human hunts are known in elite circles as the most dangerous game. MKUltra mind control victim Kathy O'Brien recalls being forced to participate in such hunts involving powerful figures and Illuminati kingpins.
It was early evening when they played Most Dangerous Game. I was stripped of my clothing. I was allowed to wear tennis shoes and told that I could have a head start and begin running before I would be hunted down. My exposure to it resulted in my believing I had no place to run and no place to hide. It seemed there were no limits to what could happen in my existence at that time. It was the most extreme, one of the most extreme situations I think I ever survived.
Reports have surfaced of European royals, nobles, and high-ranking politicians also participating in human hunting parties. The movie The Purge election year showed how the elite like to kill for fun and sport. The movie even depicts a group of wealthy elites participating in a version of the most dangerous game.
What is this? Being hunted.
After a long day of hunting down terrified captives, there's no better way for the elite to relax than with a nice, fresh drink of human blood. The most sought-after high among the elite comes from an extremely rare, yellowish-brown drug obtained by sacrificing a terrified victim and using a hypodermic needle to extract a substance known as adrenochrome from the base of the neck, or in lesser effect by drinking the blood of the sacrificed person.
Where'd you get this?
Never mind, it's absolutely pure.
What kind of monster client have you hooked up with this time?
Satanism freak.
I think there's only one source for this stuff. The adrenaline gland from a living human body.
I know. The guy didn't have any cash to pay me. He offered me human blood, said it would take me higher than I'd ever been in my life. Thought he was kidding. So I told him I'd just as soon have an ounce or so of pure adrenochrome.
Many Illuminati elite are addicted to the extreme high of human adrenaline, secreted at the height of terror.
I've talked to a lot of Satanists who've told me common themes about what goes on in these rituals. And one of the things that they do is when they're sacrificing somebody, the people with invisible light, the Satanists and the bloodlines, they'll drink the blood because when the terror reaches a certain point in the ritual, a certain adrenaline goes in the blood, which gives these people a high. I mean, sick is not the word.
Cannibalism is another particularly enjoyed practice among the elite, often done in a ritualistic nature. Most shockingly, in his book, Bloodlines of the Illuminati, Fritz Springmeier claims that the flesh of the Illuminati Grand Dame Doris Duke, of the notorious Duke family, was consumed in a satanic Halloween ritual. differentiates the elite bloodline from everyone else? Long ago in the ancient cultures to which they trace their heritage, the ancestors of today's hidden rulers pledged themselves and their future generations to the dark force that opposes humanity. Call it Satan, archons, or whatever, and that energy still lives on through their descendants to this day. As one begins to study the lives of the elite, a common denominator is always their allegiance to Luciferian doctrine. It is the key tenet of the Illuminati.
Of course, even the owl is a symbol of ancient mystery Babylon. The owl was worshipped by the ancient Egyptians and by the Babylonians. And it's interesting to me that many of the members of the Bohemian Grove have in their homes, as I understand it, small figurines of owls. And I believe they actually worship those owls as a symbol of the deity, the great goddess of Babylon.
They believe themselves to be the sons and daughters of the fallen one, Lucifer.
Here's the way they look at it. Here's their metaphor. Adam and Eve were held prisoner in the Garden of Eden by an unjust, cruel, and vindictive God. Lucifer, through his agent Satan, set man free from this garden by giving him the gift of intellect. Through the use of intellect, man will conquer the earth, will conquer nature, and will himself become God. It's taught in every Masonic temple in this land, every secret brotherhood, every secret society, every mystical temple, every occult organization teaches the Luciferian philosophy.
Satanic serial killer David Berkowitz said, Satanists are not ignorant peasants or semi-literate natives. Rather, their ranks are filled with doctors, lawyers, businessmen, and basically highly responsible citizens. The elite are obsessed with the likes of Aleister Crowley and engage in the disgusting rituals he prescribed, which includes the consumption of bodily fluids and child sacrifice.
Now, a lot of these bloodlines are Satanist. In fact, the major ones are all Satanists. And by that I mean they are into human sacrifice, human blood drinking, and all that other stuff, sacrifice of children. And it's been going on way back. And people have no problem with the fact that it was going, oh yeah, those ancients used to do that, and the Aztecs and all that stuff. But they can't expand that perception of the possible that it's still going on. It is massively going on. The fact is it was openly going on then it became unacceptable to the population in general, and it's gone on secretly ever since.
These rituals are increasingly being done in public on a scale not seen since the days of Stonehenge. The opening of a tunnel in Switzerland was the scene of a bizarre, ritualistic performance, featuring none other than the satanic goat Baphomet. The horned god was the central figure of much of the occult performance, which also included severed heads, hanging bodies, and other strange imagery. This was a high society event attended by European power brokers and political heavyweights such as Angela Merkel, Francois Hollande, then President of France, and Italian Minister Matteo Renzi. The elite puppet masters are obsessed with extending their earthly existence by any means necessary. While they poison our water with fluoride and food with GMO, the ruling elite have access to the best food, doctors, and advanced life extension technology to ensure their continued existence.
People always seem to live long lives, don't they? The Kissingers and the Father Bushes and the David Rockefellers and the Queen Mother in England lived to 102, and the Queen in England now is well of age, because they're not given the same treatment, health treatment, the rest of us get. One of the bloody reasons, and also other things that they do which are very dark, satanic, and to do with the energy of children.
PayPal founder Peter Thiel made headlines worldwide when he blatantly spoke of wanting to inject the blood of children into himself to enhance and extend his life. His remarks were hardly shocking to Thiel's fellow elites, no doubt already familiar with the controversial practice. A disturbing new trend has emerged in the life extension field and anti-aging communities, involving the transfusion of young blood into the old to cure diseases. But could the practice have any validity? Studies show after 3 weeks of receiving young blood transfusions, old and previously slow mice were perkier, ran faster, and actually grew new brain cells. At a conference in San Diego, Sakura Minomi said her team had seen a rejuvenation effect on the brains of old mice. If studies such as this are now being presented, you can bet the elite have had this information for quite some time. And we wonder why so many people go missing. In fact, the Queen's mother is reported to have had several whole-body blood transfusions, supposedly up to one a month at one point, and the Queen likely receives them herself.
It was the Queen Mother who lived a century, who admittedly got whole-body blood transfusions from young people on a monthly basis. In fact, they've been trying to suppress it, but some evidence shows the Queen of England is routinely getting blood transfusions. A lot of rock stars get them. In fact, this is getting so widespread, there are even fancy medical clinics in Austin, Texas, where I live, where you can get blood transfusions, and they even privately advertise the fact that you can get the blood of the young.
Elites have been known to use the life force of humans for centuries. Countess Elizabeth Bathory is a classic example. Obsessed with preserving her appearance, she regularly killed and drained young servants to bathe in their blood.
Elizabeth's obsession with her fading youth manifested itself in bizarre ways. According to evidence given at her trial, witnesses claimed that Elizabeth cannibalized her servant girls.
At one point, and we have the testimony of several witnesses, she got angry at one of her maids, and she rose up like a bulldog, it says in this document, and she tore the flesh from the shoulders of this girl and bit her breast.
She may have eaten young women's flesh in an attempt to incorporate their youth within her.
Somehow in her mind, apparently, she thought if she ingested parts of these girls, maybe she could acquire some of their youthful beauty.
She credited the blood of youth as having a rejuvenating and anti-aging effect. And she may not have been wrong. Today, we see Kim Kardashian using her own blood for a high-end anti-wrinkle facial. But this is likely done with the blood of the young as well, given its known regenerative properties. But when an elite's health situation is more urgent, they turn to replacing their failing organs, and you better believe they're not waiting around on a donor list. The elite travel to private hospitals to have whatever they need replaced with organs obtained through what is known as the red market, where such illicit biological commodities are bought and sold. But what good is healthy young organs and advanced life extension technology if you can still be killed in a nuclear attack or civil unrest? Not to worry, the elite have all that worked out as well. Hidden in strategic locations across the world are ultra-private luxury bunkers built to withstand a catastrophic event.
Under a mandatory evacuation.
Violent protests, running street battles.
The elite have expansive underground facilities designed to withstand almost every conceivable scenario, where they plan to wait out the destruction of civilization. Some of these bunkers and bases could hold thousands more, but the elite will only allow enough extras needed to serve them. Theorists believe these bunkers and bases are part of an underground network, connected via tunnels, Many Illuminati researchers believe such a base is hidden beneath or near the Denver airport. The mysterious airport has long drawn suspicion from investigators and observers alike due to its strangely over-budget cost, frightening statues, and macabre apocalyptic murals.
It's 25 miles from Denver. That's 19 miles farther away than old Stapleton Airport, which seemed to be just fine. And they didn't just lay down runways and build terminals. They've got enough fiber optic cables to cover a city. A fueling system that's much bigger than any airport would ever need. Underground tunnels you can drive trucks through. And it just happens to be in the middle of a big, flat, vacant piece of land that's twice the size of Manhattan.
Uber elite anticipate living it out down in luxurious bunkers, imagining the suffering taking place above them. It appears that these are not mere psychopaths, but inhumanly evil, parasitic creatures who want only enough of us around to feed off of. They have no feelings, no compassion, no regard for any living thing that cannot further their agenda. Instead of using their collective wealth and power to propel humanity forward, they contemplate how they can create situations or major events, such as a terrorist attack or war, that would be lucrative for them.
These people are not only evil, they are inhuman. They have no feelings, no compassion, no regard whatsoever for anyone or anything that does not further their agenda. We are disposable containers to them. We are nothing more than useless eaters. They would not hesitate for a minute to kill us if we stand in the way of their goals. Regardless of what you see on TV or what they portray themselves like, this is who they are. They organize events like Pearl Harbor, 9/11, and financial crises from which they profit immensely. Their favorite is war. Our only useful purpose to them is to work for them, pay our debts to them, buy their goods and services, and fight their wars. Other than that, we are of no use to them. They are completely obsessed with money and power. They are motivated by immeasurable greed with a constant lust for more. They have no interest whatsoever in making life better for us. Everything has to benefit them at our expense.
Sometime in the future, humanity will look back and shake its head, wondering how we ever allowed ourselves to be sheep for these pathetic, spineless vermin.
Hi, I'm Jay Myers. About a year ago, I uploaded my first documentary. 3 more and nearly 1 million views later, and I'm ready to take this to the next level, with more frequent uploads, plus original interviews and more. But I'm going to need your help. If you like the films I've been putting out, if you want to help me create quality content that will wake people up, then become a Patreon insider for only $5 a month. Not only will you be exposing the truth, you'll gain exclusive access to new members-only content and deleted scenes on everything from Prince's death to subliminal advertisements. So head on over to patreon.com and become an insider for only $5 a month. Because together, we're unstoppable.